Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today on Need for Knowledge, we go behind the scenes to see how horseshoes are made, as well as an insight into the shoeing process. Do you know that horses wear shoes too? Humans aren't the only living creatures who would like their feet protected from dangerous objects while walking or running. This might sound like basic info for most people, especially when you look at the item's name itself. However, horses have copied this human tradition for centuries, going as far back as 100 BC. Hoof protection has taken different forms since then, until humanity, and horses alike, finally settled on iron horseshoes. That said, there is still a lot of information regarding how this new horse footwear is made. Since horses were originally domesticated, these animals were discovered to be exposed to various conditions that caused their hooves to break or wear out excessively. Ancient people noticed this, and an early form of protection was made in ancient Asia. The horse's hooves were wrapped in leather, rawhide, or other materials for protection and therapeutic purposes. Even the Romans made an attempt to protect their horses' hooves with the strap-on, solid-bottomed hippo sandal that slightly resembled the modern hoof boot. It took a while, but horseshoes finally became a thing, especially since iron was a valuable commodity then. A horseshoe is a U-shaped metal plate, often made from steel or aluminum. However, aluminum shoes are more expensive than steel. Apart from these two, there are also plastic-coated metal shoes and even all-plastic horseshoes. Horseshoes are fabricated products designed to protect a horse's hoof from damage on hard or rough surfaces. Horseshoes are also designed to improve the animal's stepping gait, to help its conformation or how it stands, and to control interference problems when the legs or hooves collide. There are around 15 other kinds of horseshoes, depending on the horse breed and its function. Some horse breeds use different shoes on the front hooves and another kind on the back. Some horseshoes have a traction device so the animal can grip the ground better. On the other hand, thoroughbred racehorses use something called a racing plate made from aluminum on their front hooves. And an aluminum shoe known as caulk is used for the hind feet, which is implanted with steel to help improve wear resistance and abrasion. The list goes on, but the question remains, how are these horseshoes made? Let's take a look at the process. The first step to making horseshoes is to acquire the necessary raw material. This could be aluminum, plastic-coated metal, or a low-carbon mild steel designated A36, which is considered the most popular type of horseshoe. The A36 steel is seen in the form of round bars with diameters ranging from 0.5 to 0.7 inches. Depending on the type of horseshoe to be produced, these round bars are further cut to different lengths, also depending on the type of horseshoe. Once that's done and the raw material has been acquired, the next process is designing, and horseshoes are designed based on the breed of the horse and will differ in shape, size, and thickness. Since most horseshoes are mass-produced, their designs are pretty standard and are produced using a two-part die that matches the desired shape and appropriate dimensions. A new die is only needed and used if the old one wears out. In some other instances, custom-designed shoes are still handmade by several companies. And some farriers also make custom horseshoes for ill or lame horses, which are normally shaped like a heart instead of a normal U shape. After the design has been chosen, the manufacturing process can finally begin. The primary process of manufacturing horseshoes is forging, and it is also one of the oldest metal forming methods in history. This explains why farriers who work with horses still need blacksmithing training before they can properly make the horseshoe. Unlike a regular blacksmith who works with iron but may never have anything to do with horses. Forging simply involves shaping the metals by deforming them with a press, rollers, or the most common tool, a hammer. Smith forging involves making a part of the horseshoe by banging on the heated metal with the hammer, and this is the familiar forging process often performed by farriers on horseshoes. On the other hand, hammer forging is basically a larger and more machine-produced version of the same thing. The first step in manufacturing a horseshoe is cutting and bending. In this stage, the metal bar is cut to the required length using shear blades based on the type of horseshoe to be made. This cutting equipment can be operated mechanically or manually using a foot pedal. After the metal bar has been cut, it is heated in a gas-fired forge or an induction furnace to a temperature of about 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. The softened heated metal is subsequently wrapped around a block of steel in the form of a horseshoe using custom-designed equipment. Another kind of bending equipment uses a plunger shaped like a horseshoe, which forces the metal bar into the desired shape. After the metal bar is cut and bent appropriately, then comes the forging process. The most common forging process used to make horseshoes is called drop forging, in which the bent metal bar is subsequently forced into a die with the preferred dimensions by a powered hammer. One half of the die is fastened to the hammer, while the other half is attached to the anvil. A cam mechanism controls the length of the ram's stroke or how close the dies come together. After the forging process has been completed, the horseshoe is transferred to a punch press which is used to make the nail holes. Normally, 8 holes are made per horseshoe. However, the punch tooling is custom designed for each type of horseshoe. Afterward, a trim press is used to remove excess material, also known as flash. At this stage, the horseshoe is still pretty hot, with a temperature of about 1900 to 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. However, after trimming, the hot horseshoe is air-cooled for 45 to 60 minutes. Once air-cooled, the horseshoes are packaged manually in 25 or 50-pound boxes. A 50-pound box typically holds 80 shoes. However, some manufacturers package 15 or 30 pairs per box. Once the horseshoe has been made, the next step involves putting it on the horse's hoof, a process called shoeing. And when done properly, this process won't hurt the animal. The old shoes are removed using pincers or shoe pullers, and then the farriers trim the sole and frog the hoof with a hoof knife and hoof the wall with nippers, a sharp pliers-like tool. These are called the insensitive part of the hoof, also known as the area where they drive the nails, and it's pretty similar to a manicure on a human fingernail, but on a much larger scale. The horseshoes are then measured to fit the hoof and bent to the correct shape with the hammer, anvil, forge, and other modifications. The farrier then nails the horseshoes by driving the nails into the hoof wall at the white line of the hoof. After the nail has been completely driven in, the farrier cuts off the sharp points and uses a clincher or a clinching block with the hammer to bend the rest of the nail so it is nearly flush with the hoof wall. The farrier then uses a rasp to smoothen the edges where it meets the shoe and remove any sharp edges left from cutting off the nails. Have you ever seen a horseshoe or the shoeing process? I used to live with a few horses, so I've helped out with quite a few. Leave your answers in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this episode of Need for Knowledge, and we will see you in the next one. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for new videos.